What I wanted to ask about was free will. If you want something very much, but it involves somebody else doing or being what you want them to be, I've been told that they have their free will and I cannot make them do or be what I want them to be. What do I do with the wanting at that point, or make it a general? I can give you the specific instance. I've been in love with a man for a long time who wants to be my friend, and we have a lovely friendship, and I want to hold on to that at least. But I really would like him to fall in love with me. I can't make him do that, but the wanting is there, and I think, well, maybe I should just want a man, some man, and make it more general. I don't know what is are there rules for wanting, or
yes. There is one rule relative to wanting, and that is you cannot want and flow energy toward the lack of your wanting at the same time and get what you want. In other words, the rule, we'll say it again until you hear it. The rule is you cannot focus upon what you want and the lack of it at the same time. You cannot want and attract to you what you want when your dominant attention is toward the lack of it. In other words, each time you notice that he doesn't love you, you're not thinking about him loving you, you're thinking about him not loving you. Each time you say, he is my friend, that is positive energy, but he is not the lover that I want, now you're flowing energy toward the lack of what you are wanting. Now, there are a number of things we want to say to you, and we promise you that we will answer your question absolutely fully. But there is something that we want you to hear before we get into the nitty-gritty of your question. And that is, nothing outside of you ever keeps you from anything that you want. There's no outside influence that is as strong as your energy flow. There is no outside circumstances. There is no outside force. There is nothing in all of the universe that is affecting your experience other than the way you are flowing your energy. So it's not the other person exercising his free will that's keeping you from what you want. It's you thinking about what you want and noticing the lack of it that's keeping you from what you want. In other words, you are the only one who can shoot yourself in the foot. Physical beings have a difficult time with this initially because you're not accustomed to flowing energy. It is interesting, we watch you as you are physically focused, and you are very good at monitoring your behavior and your action. In other words, you control rather well so that society won't tar and feather you, the action that you offer or the words that you offer in certain places. But you flow your energy all over the place as if it doesn't matter at all, when the only thing that is affecting you is how you're flowing your energy. Now, I'll give you an example of this. Esther kept having a recurring dream. For many years, after she and her mate came together, she dreamed that she couldn't find him. She thought she knew where he was, but she couldn't find him. She would try, she knew the number where he could be reached, but when she would dial it, it wouldn't ring. Or her fingers would punch right through the telephone would turn into keys or something, it wouldn't, or it would ring and he couldn't hear, or he could hear and she couldn't hear. It was just a variety of things keeping them from connecting. And when Esther started to interact with Abraham, she said, Abraham, is this dream about all that time before I found him, all those years I was looking for him and had not found him? We said, no, your dream is current. Your dream is about your now. And Esther said, what do you mean? And we said, in your wanting of this delicious relationship, again, we keep wanting to come back to every subject being two subjects. In your awareness of what you are wanting, you spend more time thinking about the absence of it. And when Esther thought about it, she realized that was accurate. She worried that he would get run over. She worried that he would stop loving her. She worried that he would find someone that he loved more. In other words, even though her very passionate, strong, ever-present desire was that this relationship would last forever, more than 50% of her thoughts were upon what would happen if it didn't. Because she didn't know about flowing energy. In other words, she was still believing that it's about fate or chance or luck or circumstance. So she was feeling lucky that she had him, but not sure she could hold on to him. You see what we are talking about? And so when we said to Esther, you have been projecting so much lackful thought relative to this relationship that your dream, your inner being is showing you a probable future where you won't know where he is, a probable future where your negative lackful vibration is going to create something you do not want. So with this story, we think you are hearing what we are saying is that what you are wanting to do, it is as we said earlier several times today, you're wanting to think about this relationship that you want and feel good about it at the same time. So that instead of it evoking from you a yearning, lonely feeling, you're wanting it to evoke, the thought of it to evoke from you a feeling of ecstasy, a feeling of empowerment. And when you are able to shift the way you feel about it, it is our promise to you that you will allow into your experience that which you are wanting. Now, this is the way that it works, because you bring up a very good point. If I'm the creator of my experience, then is not every other person on the planet the creator of their experience? And what happens when two people want different things relative to the same subject? And we say, if you will start talking about what you want and why you want it, you will get to the core of your desire, and then you will attract it either from this one or you will reach right past this one and attract it from another. But either way, you win. In other words, you will not find yourself feeling lack as you say, oh, drat, I've attracted the perfect person into my life and it's not that one. In other words, when it's the perfect person, I have fulfilled everything that I want in a relationship, but it's not the face that I thought it would be. You will not be saying that. You see what we are getting at? So what you do is you bless this being, this person, for the stimulation that he is evoking from you. In other words, the awareness of desire that is raging so strong within you is a very powerful thing. And as you let yourself want it, and you talk about why you want it, and you envision it, and imagine it, and pretend it, and feel sometimes that the relationship is just as you want it to be, before you know it, you will have that relationship just as you want it to be. It is our absolute promise to you. Because by law, it cannot be any other way.
Thank you.
Anytime you're feeling anxious or lonely, that's your indicator that you're looking at the lack. Anytime you feel excited and anticipatory, that's your awareness that you're flowing toward what you are wanting. As you want something from your now, there are a lot of things that you project, and most of you are identifying, because you're growth seekers, you're identifying as your desire things that you don't currently possess. Well, the moment you do that, you bring your awareness to the crevasse of lack between where you stand and where you want to be. Now, the way you jump over the crevasse of lack is by talking about it, describing it. In other words, when you're talking about what you want and why you want it, you're not aware of the lack. It's only when you're comparing where you stand to that you feel the lack. So the key is to describe what you're wanting so emphatically that the lack just isn't an issue. If you were, let us say, you're going on a road trip and you've made hotel reservations at this wonderful resort, and there are so many things in this city to do that you like to do, and you've done some of them before and you're so excited. And so you've made your reservations, and now you are getting into your car and you have about 1,000 miles to drive to this oasis of fun. Do you think that you would get out of your car every 20 miles and damn the ground you stand on? You're not it. You're not where I want to be. Where's my hotel? Where's my fun? I've got tickets to a play. Where is it? Or would you say,
that's a wonderful analogy. Yeah.
Or would you say, isn't it nice that this roadway is here that is taking me to this place where I will have this wonderful manifestation of fun?
Yes.
And so you're getting the sense of the joyful becoming. In other words, when you might even find yourself enjoying something between where you stand and arriving at that city of destination. You might discover that the leaves have turned to extraordinary color, and everywhere you look there is a paradise of visual delight. You might discover that there are nice people everywhere you stop along the way. You might discover conversation with the person you're traveling with, or you might discover a message on the radio. In other words, there is all sorts of potential for delicious life experience on the way to that. And that's what we mean by the awareness of the never-ending, joyous becoming. Physical beings, because you have birth and death, that feel like decided beginning and endings to you. You tend to approach most of your life in that way. So you're all the time saying, when I get over there, then I'll feel better.
Yes.
Where from your non-physical perspective, being born into this physical body was not any bigger decision than making a decision to walk through that door today rather than do any of the other multitude of things that were your option. In other words, what we are wanting to do is to soften your sense of beginning and ending and broaden your sense of eternal becoming. Because as you begin to broaden your sense of eternal becoming, something very amazing happens to you. The first thing is you realize you're not ever going to get it done. In other words, there is no end to what I'm going to want and what I'm going to allow. And when you finally come to grips with that I'm not ever going to get it done, then you stop focusing so much on the crevasse between where you stand and what you think you want to get done. You start relaxing more into the journey. You start basking more wherever you are standing. You start gaining the greatest benefit that you come from this day. You start playing with the people along the way. Last night, as Jerry and Esther were checking in, Jerry had gone to the room with his arms full of things, and Esther said, I'm going to go to the front desk and see if they have an ironing board and an iron. So she went to the front desk, and she was sort of in an attitude of fun. They'd been playing and having such a good time. So she asked for an ironing board, and the woman behind the desk brought it. And then she said, and do you have an iron too? And so then the woman brought it, and she said, just one more thing, do you have an ironer? And the woman said, that's as far as we go. The iron and the ironing board, that's as far as we go. And Esther said, well, it never hurts to ask. But she was full of fun and evoked from them lots of fun too. And as she is walking away, she can hear them laughing. They had all had a good time. And then Esther rounded the corner looking for what more fun she could have. And as she looked straight ahead, there was a man standing at the ice machine scratching his head because he had his container under the thing, but he could not figure out how to make any ice come. And so Esther popped her head in the door and said, push the button and then put it down. And the man was so appreciative, no telling how long he'd been standing there trying to figure out how to get ice to come out of the machine. And when Esther got on the elevator, now there is another worker, and she had 3 or 4 people to play with in the 2-minute interval between leaving her last playmate. In other words, you see what we are getting at? In every moment of your experience, there is something to surprise and delight you. Someone with whom you can play and uplift and interact and enhance one another's experience. You see what we are getting at? And when you are enjoying your journey, it is not possible for you to ever feel lackful that you're not over there yet. And then what begins to happen is that all the over theres that you've ever imagined or dreamed of start avalanching into your experience. What we're wanting to amplify here is this. You're really at a place of hearing that in light of the crescendo we have come to here. So just relax and enjoy this clearer awakening. When we talk about creating, it sounds like going out and getting stuff you want. I'll get me a mate, I'll get me a car, I'll get me a pretty house, I'll get me a good body, and that's pretty much what creating sounds like to most physical beings. And what we would like you to feel it as, it's not a matter of going out and getting it, it's a matter of vibrationally vibrating with it. In other words, you've heard us define 3 laws: law of attraction, law of deliberate creation, and law of allowing. And now what we would like you to hear is that they are all the same thing. Because as I think, I feel and vibrate, and therefore allow or attract. So let's say that I have been stimulated to a desire by someone I've seen, and I think, I want that mate in my experience. And as I see that one, I just feel good just in seeing this one. I feel better when I'm around this one. I feel such appreciation that just beholding that one or even thinking about that one just makes me feel better. So as I flow my energy toward that one and vibrate with that one, even though I'm standing here and that one's standing over there, we're vibrating in the same place. And as I'm vibrating there, then I'm in a vibrational place of allowing this thing that I want. But if I see that one, and instead of acknowledging and talking about and basking in and appreciating what this relationship can be, if I'm feeling the lack of it, now what's my point of attraction?